Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Little Craft Room podcast. My name's Nicola. I run a little craft room on many places, but I've got a selection of them down here if you would like to find me on any of them. I am going to have to start off with a little bit of an apology about last week. I kind of called off the podcast last minute. I really wasn't well. I called out of work. I was sleep deprived and starting to get the physical symptoms of sleep deprivation. So, just minor hallucination and like really banging headache, not being able to string a sentence, all that fun stuff. So I did think, I was in no position to be running a stream. So on Wednesday afternoon I did call it off. So yeah, apologies that it was kind of last minute, didn't run as it normally would, but I'm feeling much better now, as you can see, because I'm back. So yeah, just a kind of little minor apology about the calling off of last week, but it was very much needed. So yes, that's just kind of a little starting off. I hope you've had a good day. I hope you're ready to just kind of chill out and listen to some knitting and crochet talk. I have a drink with me, I'm kind of all settled in for the night. I've got some blackcurrant and elderflower flavoured tea from my favourite Whittard of Chelsea, in of course my Knit Happens mug, because as we discovered last time, I'm a big fan of a knitting pan. So it is currently still absolutely boiling hot, so I will be drinking this throughout. But yeah, I love having myself all set up in here with like a lovely cozy drink. So I'm set up and I hope you are too. You'll have to excuse me, my voice does keep going a little bit. It's one of those things, working in teaching, you always get whatever's going around, and right now it appears to be a bit of a croaky voice, but I will do my best. I might just have to kind of clear my throat every so often, so please bear with me for that. So the featured item for this week I kind of currently have on my lap. I've really been feeling the cold the last few days. We had a staff meeting earlier and the room that we were in was so cold, so I've kind of got it in my bones now, so I'm kind of sat with a blanket on my lap like a little old lady, and I don't care because it's nice and warm. So I am going to show you. I will have to stand up because this thing is huge. So this, can't even see if it's all on camera. It's not all on camera, but it'll have to do. This is my Sophie's Universe blanket. So I made this several years ago. As you can see, it is quite big. It is square, so if I hold it fully out, ooh, there we go. Oh, you can't, it doesn't even fit on the frame. There we go. So it's that square, and that is me at full arm span. So it's fairly sizable. Well, I mean, I'm not the tallest of people, but it's still a pretty big blanket. So as I said, this is Sophie's Universe, and I've got it on because I just really fancy. Sorry, I'm bashing my chair against everything. I really just fancied sitting and snuggling up a little bit. So I think this was the first really big project I ever did. I started it following my Sophie Stool project. So the mandala, the main mandala is repeated in this blanket. It's one of the staple. Sorry, I've just run my chair over the blanket. There we go. That's kind of the recognisable Sophie kind of pattern, is that middle mandala. And then yeah, I started the stool cover version in 2018. Yes, I did that in 2018 and adored it. I absolutely loved that pattern. So when I found out that there was a blanket version, I thought, yes, I'm gonna have to do it. I didn't do it straight away. I started this blanket in December 2019 and finished it in May 2020. So lockdown gave me some lovely time to work on my Sophie. and I did it using the book. It is a free pattern, I believe. It is by Dedri Uis, and I'm going to apologise for what is likely a massacre of the pronunciation of that name. But yeah, so she is the designer. She's a brilliant crochet designer. I've made quite a few of her patterns now, and I just adore the way she designs it. Her patterns are so clear. And honestly, I would kind of say that Sophie, it seems to almost be like a rite of passage for a lot of crocheters. A lot of people have done this pattern. You can see from the from the top there, it was originally a crochet along. I think it was an official Shepjes crochet along. Several years before I did it, I wasn't kind of at the crochet along. I wasn't aware enough of it when the crochet along happened, so I was a couple of years late to the party. But I constantly see Sophie's everywhere on Instagram, everywhere on Ravelry. It's a really popular pattern, and I can absolutely see why, because for anybody that's kind of knows how to crochet and wants to take it like a little step up, this taught me how to crochet almost. I knew how to do bits and bobs, and you know, I'd looked up things before, but this definitely took me from someone who crocheted to a crocheter. Like that, it was just kind of transformative for me, this one. And I absolutely adored doing this pattern. Every time I finished a row, I was like, oh, but look at it now, look at it now, because it just totally changed how the pattern looked. And yeah, I really enjoyed the process of this, because there were so many different techniques that you never got bored, because it changed pretty much every row. You were kind of forming some kind of motif, and yeah, that was the one thing with blankets. Obviously they're so big, sometimes you do feel like you're just kind of going on forever, but with this one the stitch techniques changed often enough that you kind of kept the interest in it, and I absolutely love that. So I made this one in Shepjes Stone Washed XL. It is an Aran weight yarn, and this is the colour Red Jasper. What I did do is I actually made, obviously as you can see, a single colour version. Hello, you okay? So that you can see the pattern is a multicoloured pattern. There are a few different colourways that you can get, and they sell yarn packs. Oh, hello, thank you. Oh, that's so nice of you. So yeah, they do sell specific packs for different colourways. They also did different size packs for different size blankets, so if you wanted to make a slightly smaller one, you could get it in fingering weight, and I believe there was a double knit as well. So yeah, the original colour packs are for a multicolour blanket, but I had to be different, didn't I? Fun and interested. Oh, thank you, that's so sweet of you. No, I had to be different with my blanket. It was honestly mostly just because we were moving into a new house, and we had a theme that we wanted for the living room. Multicoloured was not the theme. So I thought, well, red's one of our theme colours. So I decided to go with a full red one. I hadn't ever seen a single colour one. It was a bit of a gamble. You're reacting to me. Oh, fair enough. That's so sweet. Yeah, I hadn't seen any single colour ones, so it was a bit like, oh, is this gonna work? Is it gonna look a bit naff as a single colour one? And one of my main worries was that all the different patterns, all the different little kind of interesting bits on there, I was really worried that they wouldn't come through on a single colour one. Thankfully, I think they have. I think I was very happy with the way that this turned out, and I don't think it's lost anything by being a single colour, but it's definitely a very different vibe. I have considered making another one in all the different colours, because I just think that would be really satisfying as well, but knowing me, I'd probably try and pick my own colours, because I like making life difficult for myself. So I think I would want to do a multicoloured version at some point. But yeah, I'd probably pick my own little colours. So yes, one colour, Shepier's Stonewashed XL in Red Jasper. Although there was actually a funny story about buying this. With it being all a single colour, I ordered the yarn from Black Sheep Wools, which is in the northwest. I adore that shop. If you're anywhere near there, I would highly recommend going in. I really wish I lived closer to there, and I would go in there all the time. It's probably a good job I don't, really. And I ordered it through their website, and because it's, you know, a fairly sizable blanket, I ordered all my yarn, and then about 3 days later I got a phone call from Black Sheep Wools, and they were like, yeah, we've just started looking at your order, and it says 56 balls of yarn. Did you mean to order 56? I was like, yes, I did. But I really appreciate them calling, actually, because can you imagine if I'd only meant to order 5 or 6 and pressed both? That would have been the biggest surprise to have it show up at my door. So I was like, yes, I did mean to order that, but thank you for checking. So I really quite appreciated that. So yes, it didn't quite use all of it, but it did use most of it. So yes, this took definitely over 50 balls. I don't think it wasn't 56, it was probably about 53 of them I did use. So a lot of yarn. So this, like I said, it kind of taught me a lot, but one of the main things that this taught me was tension. And it's one of those things, a lot of crocheters do talk about tension, and obviously a lot of patterns include like tension or gauge guides, and I'd kind of just, like, I thought I knew what it meant, and I was like, yeah, it'll be fine. And I did realise with this pattern, actually, when I finished it, my gauge in the middle is looser than my gauge on the outside. So it does have a slightly baggier feeling to the middle, which, not the best thing in the world, but it taught me so much. This kind of, you know, it's my blanket. I'm not going to pull it back. I'm not, you know, I'm not bothered by it. But it did mean that I really kind of thought more about my tension as I was doing projects after this, because it showed me what happens when tension goes wrong. So it did teach me a lot about the tension. I'm not going to show you the baggy middle because I'm gonna keep that to myself. I'm not going to show off all my mistakes. But yes, this was definitely how I learned. Lesson learned the hard way. Channel is good. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, school. Yeah, I had school today as well. But teacher perspective. So yes, if anybody is looking for a pattern, especially somebody wanting to kind of step up from beginner, I would so highly recommend this. I've recommended it to one of my friends that started crocheting, and she did her version as well. I'm not sure how far along she is with it, actually. I'll check in at some point next time I see her. But she definitely started making Sophie, and I think she loved it just as much as I did. Although I think one thing I will say is my favourite part of this pattern are just those little... Oh, it's not coming through very well. Oh, there we go. Kind of. Those little dragonfly, kind of butterfly things that go along the top. I love that bit. And I just really like the sharp kind of lines of the top. I love this kind of diamond pattern. And I like the post crochets that kind of form these really clean lines. I found that really satisfying to do. So that's just kind of little highlights of my favourite parts of the pattern. Yeah, just along that border and the little butterfly motifs. Yeah, I just really liked that. They were really satisfying to do. So yes, that is my featured item for this week. And it's the Sophie's Universe blanket. Like I said, I think the pattern's on her website. I think it's still free. Yeah, I don't think it's a premium pattern, but I really wanted the book because I just wanted to have something in front of me that I could flick through. I do a lot of patterns. I do read a lot of patterns online now as I do them, but I very glad that I bought the book. So yeah, highly recommend this pattern. So in terms of my works in progress, I did watch last week's video, not last week's, the week before, and I realised I'd said works in project. So maybe my sleep deprivation started earlier than I clearly was only experiencing the symptoms last week, but it clearly started earlier than that, because I think I said that WIP stands for works in project. It doesn't. It stands for works in progress. It wasn't until I watched the video back, I was like, why did I say that? I don't know. Who knows? But I do have some updates, because obviously it has been a couple of weeks now. I'm going to start on my update for the single Malt sweater. This was the one I was making for my dad for his birthday, and last time I had just finished the body. I'd done the stretchy cast off, and now we have a sleeve. Just the one. And not even a full one. But there we go. We have most of a sleeve, and my ball is rolling away from me. Also back to front. There we go. That's better. So single Malt sweater is going quite well. The sleeve, as hoped, has been progressing nice and speedily. The only reason I've stopped it here is because I did want to try it on myself, which it's not for me, but I was doing some kind of rough measuring, and I think that when the sweater reaches my wrist, that's when I will want to start the cuff so that it's long enough for my dad's arm, because he's got longer arms than I have. So based on my really quick, probably dodgy maths, yeah, I think that once it gets to my wrist, that's when I would then need to add on the cuff so that it would fit my dad. And part of me feels confident about that. The other part of me wants to haul him over and get him to try it on again. So I'm kind of counting, because that's the thing, is if I count the rows on this sleeve, I'll just repeat it for the other one. I don't think his arms are different lengths. I'm desperately hoping they're not. So yeah, the plan is just to figure out one sleeve, make sure I've counted the rows right, and then I can just repeat on the other side. So in terms of my stitch marker, I did put a stitch marker. That is what I've done since the last session. So I think that's pretty good. I think that's considerable progress. I quite like the decreases as well, so you can see there the decrease in the sleeve as it goes kind of down the arm. So the tailoring's quite good. So I quite like the way that the pattern was written to do that. And what I also really liked is that as you move down the arm, this kind of detail on the raglan part does continue. If I try to open the sleeve, on the underside of the sleeve, there we go. So it's used to help aid the decreases, but it does continue down the length of the arm. And I just quite like that little detail, because I don't think it would have looked out of like pattern. I don't think it would have looked odd if they'd like just kind of looped it under the arm to go back up the other side of the raglan. But I was quite okay with that, actually. I just like that little detail. So it does reassure me that this is getting close to completion, because once I've confidently got the length of that sleeve, I'll just repeat it for the other side. So yes, I've made a decent amount of progress on that one. So as per, what I will do is I will move my stitch marker so that we'll see how far I've got next time. So there we go. Stitch marker. In fact, I'm going to put it on the other side, because that way it'll be on the front and you'll actually see it when I hold it up. If I can do it without splitting the yarn. There we go. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this is going. It does need a good block. It definitely needs a good block, because I can see some of the some of the joins where the sleeve meets the raglan. It's one of those I highly doubt anybody else would see it, but I can. So it bothers me. But after a block, I think it should be absolutely fine. Blocking is the magic that fixes everything. Or we hope it is anyway. It's one of the reasons, like, I kind of resent blocking, but I don't. So I kind of, it annoys me because it's such a faff to do. It means you can't just wear your thing automatically, like straight away, straight off the needles, and then you have to soak it and you roll it in your towel and then pin it out and then wait for it to dry, and it's just like, oh, it's such a faff. But it works, and part of me is mad about that, because if it didn't work that well, I could justify not doing it, but it does work. And it works really, really well. I just blocked one of my my secret projects, and it's blocked beautifully, and I'm kind of mad about it, but not, because now it looks really good. But yeah, it's just me being bitter about having to do extra things. I just want to finish my projects and then I'm ready to go, but it's not always the case. So let me put single malt away. And let's put it needles down so I don't stab myself the next time I go to get it. So speaking of blocking, this next project I will absolutely not be blocking because it's just not feasible. It's not realistic. I did block this, not fantastically well, but I did block it. This one is even bigger, and it's not something that I think I'll be able to block. For a start, I've not even got a bath to do it in. We only have a shower, so blocking in a shower is not as convenient, shall we say. But it is a Hibernate blanket, and when she figures out which way up she's going, that way. So I've actually done a decent amount on the Hibernate. That's the full thing. It's even wider than my arm span, and it's considerably longer than Sophie. So there we go. Those are the kind of the contrast colours on the bottom. And I have done quite a bit actually since the last podcast. And it's one of those really annoying things for this. It doesn't look like quite a bit, but because it's so wide, that like just one row is so many stitches. So I was there where that teeny tiny little stitch marker is, and I've done all of that. So I finished stripe number 1, which is probably the biggest stripe that will need to be done on this side, and I've also finished my light grey kind of gap, because what the plan is, there's a hole over the bottom again. So it's obviously the main colour, the pale grey, a small dark grey, then a break, then the white, then a break, then a bigger dark grey. I'm planning on mirroring that on the other side. So doing a larger white, then a black, then a gap, darker grey, then a gap, and then a slightly smaller white. So it does mean I'm close to completion. There's my large white. I'm about to join on with my darker grey so that I can do my kind of second contrast colour, and it's very nearly done, and it's about time because I've been doing this for so long and the person that it's for has been waiting so long, and then I'll finally get to send it and have all the fun with sending it, because this is going to be really fun via Royal Mail. Trying to imagine posting this. It's gonna be so funny. I'm probably gonna have to vacuum seal it or something, because there's no way. I don't think Royal Mail will take it at its current size. I'll have to get like a private courier or something, and I can only imagine how much they would want me to pay for that. So apologies. Hopefully this is cool enough to drink now. Oh yeah, that's better. I love this blackcurrant and elderflower tea. Oh, that's just warmed me right up, that. So yes, I'm hoping that this finishes very quickly, and that the sending of it is painless. That's my only hope. It's just painless. I've not got high expectations. I don't want it easy, just I don't want it to be painful. So yeah, quite happy with the progress that I've made on this. I have this much of the main colour, which I'm imagining should be fine because I've only got one more intermediate stripe and then the kind of the final edge. The original pattern, it does call for a border in the main colour all the way around, including over the contrast stripes, just like a single layer. And I did think about that, and I like the border style of it, but when it's over the contrast colours, there's something in me that just goes, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right to me. So I don't think I'm going to include that border because I quite like that it's staying horizontal with those stripes. So I think I'm going to keep it as the edge. And to be honest, those edges are quite, they're quite clean. Obviously I've not I've not sewn my ends in. But once the ends are sewn in, I don't see a problem with those edges. And sometimes as well, I can find borders. Borders can ruin an edge. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a border. But if the tension isn't perfect, it can kind of either scrunch it in or feel like it's stretching it out. Whereas currently this does have not much, but it does have a bit of stretch to it. And I do feel like a border would ruin that. I don't feel like you'd have quite as much freedom. And, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that was the point of adding the border. But personally, I'm going to go without, I think. So yes, Hibernate blanket, finally, nearly done. I'm quite excited to see it done. Getting pictures of it could be interesting because it's just so enormous. So this is the whole thing, like obviously not folded, but so yeah, apart from anything else, it's just taking up loads of room. I can't wait to finish it so I can be like, right, here, your problem. No, it's not been a problem. It's not been a problem. But yeah, considering it's not something I'm going to be keeping, it does take up a lot of space. So I'm very excited to give it to the person that it's for. Partly so that they can use it as well, especially with it getting so cold now. I'm sat with my blanket on my knee. I'd quite like to deliver what was promised. Oh. It's like I mentioned a few podcasts back, when you promise a project and you feel the guilt if you don't finish it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one being done. I think, but basically my plan for the rest of the year is to just finish loads of things. I've got the Hibernate sweater, which obviously has a deadline for my dad's birthday. The blanket, I did decide to put the deadline on myself to have it done by Christmas. I feel like I've given myself enough time on that one. So yes, I would like that one done by Christmas. I've also set myself a target. This one I don't know whether I will do. The plan was to finish another portal square. So for those of you who've been with me for several weeks now, this is the portal blanket. I'm making each square individually. Currently I'm on 1 square per year. I was hoping to speed that process up, but it did occur to me the other day that if I finish another square by Christmas, then that'll be 3 squares in 3 years. So we're still averaging at a square per year. But plow on, keep going. And I'm afraid in terms of portal blanket updates, haven't done any more. Because I've set myself so many deadlines for Christmas. So there are some where I'm hoping to, like I said, with the Hibernate blanket, obviously that will be a postal issue. I'll have to make sure that I get that in the post. But I'm currently doing this one, the cake. What was it? I think I'm a quarter of the way. I think I'm a quarter of the way through. But there's no more to show you, I'm afraid. So we will get there. We will get there one day. But I do have a minor update. I know I do. I know. I'm sorry. I will get it done. I promise. It might kill me, but I will get it done. And you know, for all that I say at Christmas, it will be, you know, 3 squares in 3 years. I'm hoping to start the next square like not too long afterwards, because I do want to step up my time on this, because it is like I appreciate it's taking the mick a little bit now, and plus that way as well I'll have like a whole other cubby space to fill with more yarn. That's not the reason I should be doing it, but it's one of the reasons I'm going to do. But no, I am going to finish it if it is the last thing I do. Although I was actually thinking as well, I mentioned I'd possibly doing some game streaming on this channel at some point. I did wonder whether I should, I've been meaning to play it for a while, I wondered whether I should try Portal and kind of streaming it on this channel on a different day, because obviously Wednesdays are my kind of crochet and knitting podcast days. But I did wonder whether that would spur me on a little bit to kind of boost the motivation for making the Portal blanket. And it's not like it's unrelated, because you know it links to the blanket. So I did wonder whether I should start playing through Portal on here. So I don't know. Maybe I will. So final whip update is this one, which is one of my Teddy Task projects. This isn't a huge update, but I have done a little bit on this. So those of you who were with me on my last stream, I rolled a dice to pick which of these inherited teddies I completed, and this was the one that the dice chose. This was the one I had quite a bit of a laugh about this. I did kind of go off stream and I was really chuckling at myself, because I got that out and thought, oh cool, that's a really cute duck. It's not a duck, it's a monkey, and we discovered that on the last stream. I mean, I knew the first time I pulled it out that it wasn't a duck the second I found its ears, but we just couldn't figure out what it was. And then yeah, live on stream on the last one, we suddenly realised it's obviously a monkey. And you can kind of, let me, which way do the ears go on? That way, kind of. There we go. That's obviously a monkey. Look at it. It's obviously a monkey, and it's a very cute monkey. But it did make me laugh that I'd spent ages having to stop myself referring to it as a duck. But it's made me want to really make a duck now. So I'm going to have a lot of yarn left over on this, and I think I'm going to have to make a duck out of it, because I've hyped myself up for a duck now. So my little monkey, there's been the tiniest update, but really not very much. So when I first kind of inherited this, the little nose kind of muzzle-ish area was only pinned on. It's now sewn on. Sadly, that's as far as the update goes for the little monkey. But yeah, I did stuff it. It wasn't stuffed originally, and I found that as I was sewing it on, it was getting quite a few like dents in it that weren't automatically popping out. So I did stuff it a little, not too much, because I didn't want it to look like a really kind of definitive, really sticky out kind of snout area. So I haven't stuffed it too much. Like you can see, it's fairly shallow, but I did want it to at least hold its shape. And normally I'm the kind of person that will stuff something to within an inch of its life, because I really want the shape to come through, but I didn't with this one, so there's still a fair amount of give in that. Sorry, just poking you in the nose there. So yeah, his nose is all sewn on now, and hopefully it shouldn't take too much for me to do the rest of the body. What I did realise is, I mean, I'm fairly certain now that that's a monkey. I've pretty much decided that it's a monkey. But I did think, should he have a tail? Now, oh, that's not finished. Okay, don't pull that. the original kind of pieces, she'd made all of them, but there wasn't a tail. And I think if we're going monkey, like if we're doing a monkey, like I'm gonna let's do a monkey. Let's do it like properly. So I did think maybe I will just add a little tail for him. It won't be too difficult. I'll probably just keep it as a circle of 6, maybe 10, depending on the size I get. But yeah, I did think just a little tail, and I think that would just really finish this little guy off. So yeah, not too much of an update on this one, but I'm just glad his nose is sorted, partly because I can see me accidentally stabbing myself if I didn't, but that's beside the point. So yeah, we've got our little monkey. I think the next thing I'll do is probably sew the ears on. Apart from anything else, it'll stop me accidentally calling it a duck. It was so cute when I thought it was a duck. I mean, it's a very cute monkey. It's a very cute monkey. But as a duck, it was adorable. So, yeah, hopefully I will have a little bit more of an update on him next time. And I might put a bit more stuffing in that body as well. Very tempted to. I don't know. Maybe it's meant to be squishy. This is the thing, is I don't want to change them too much from what the original lady that started these. I don't want to change them too much from what she intended to do, because at the end of the day they are her projects, and I'm just finishing them off so that her family can kind of still have them. You know, I feel like it would be inappropriate for me to suddenly start going, well, I think it would be better if they, you know. But I do feel like monkeys need a tail. Monkeys gotta have a tail. Maybe I'll have to re-look through the pattern pile to see if I can find a monkey pattern. I haven't found a monkey pattern yet, but then I suppose I was looking for a duck pattern, so why would I have noticed a monkey pattern? So yeah, little tiny updates on my teddy task, but not too much. Oh, you're back. Hello. So my voice is going again. I'm gonna pop off just for a teeny little break, just to kind of drink some stuff, clear my throat, like really kind of clear it nice and loud. I will only be a couple of minutes, and then I have a couple of acquisitions to talk about because I went to a yarn show on Saturday. So I will talk about the yarn show that I went to, and I will talk about what I got there. So a couple of minutes tea break, and then I will be back in a little bit. So stick around and I'll see you in a second. Hello, I'm back. I've done some major throat clearing, although no doubt it'll need it again in 5 minutes. Yes, I'm back. I've had some tea, and I'm ready to just kind of do the last little bit of this. So yes, I did say I was going to talk about the yarn show I went to. So myself and a friend of mine went to the 3 Bags Full wool market, which was in Liscard. That's a town in Cornwall. And it was really nice, actually. I mean, I was expecting it to be nice, but I think I was pleasantly surprised at the size of it. There were a lot more people, a lot more stalls than I was expecting. I've never been into this particular this place in Liscard, and it was I think it was the public hall. I've never been in there before. But every time we turned a corner there just seemed to be another room that was just full of stalls, so it was really nice, actually. And I did get a couple of things. I wasn't too bad, I was fairly good, but I'm only human. So the first thing I got was this this kind of little travel bag. I think there's a better name for it and the name escapes me right now, but obviously, you know, you can hang that on your arm. You've got your wool in there while you're making a project, and it's like an on the go thing. I'm quite one for knitting on the bus or on a train, so I do feel like this is going to be really, really useful for stuff like that. And I love a project bag. Most of the ones that I tend to use are the organza bags that the yarn comes in when you order it online. So something that's a bit more substantial than that is always a winner, because I also, if I ever gift any of my projects, I use the organza bags as gift bags, so it does mean I constantly cycle through them. But I adored this one. It's got a kind of pop top, so you can open it and kind of attach it to things if you wanted to. So this one was from Bellica Yarns. I'm not sure where they're based, but I had heard of them before. And it's got little bees. How cute is that? Little bees. I love bee themed stuff. I really do. Yeah, my knitting stitch markers are actually little bees and little hexagons, so I love bee stuff. So I got that. Same stall, Bellica Yarns. I also got myself, oh, that's quartz. I also got myself some of this because I just think that would make the most beautiful pair of socks. I was really torn, actually, between this one and a slightly paler one it was a similar kind of colour theme with like a kind of almost purpley pink to it, like a mauvey, like dark purple bleeding into pink, but it had a lot more white in that one. And while I absolutely adored it, for socks, I can see me getting those really dirty, and it would break my heart to get them dirty. So I decided to save myself the pain. So yeah, is there a name for this colourway? Oh no, there's a spot for the colourway and it's not been written on. But it is 4-ply or finger weight yarn. It is 100 grams to 425 meters, and it is 75% merino and 25% nylon, so perfect sock content. And I really I love a slightly variegated yarn. I just love the colour options that you have. And the last pair of socks I made with slight kind of colour changes in the yarn was so satisfying to work up, especially in kind of your normal stocking stitch. I just love seeing all the tones come out. So very excited for that one. I've got no idea when these socks are gonna materialise, but one day they will. I haven't picked a pattern for them yet either. I've made one pair of socks to date and I actually really liked it. I liked how quick the project was. I liked how portable it was, and I do like the finished things. I think the only thing I do want is, as I mentioned a couple of episodes ago, I am not a double point knitter. You know, fair play to you if you can. I can't get on with double points. I just end up starving myself, and it's not a fun time for me or anybody in the room with me if I'm using double points. I'm definitely a circular needle knitter, So I do want some interchangeables for sock knitting. Now I believe Higher Sharps does an interchangeable sock needle set that seems to be the right size, because that's the problem with sock needles, they're so tiny. And I mean, magic loop is always an option, but if you can get the really small circular needles with the short shanks, even better. So I have been looking for this specific set from Higher Sharps, but every time I look it seems to be out of stock, and there's kind of like 3 colours, and I know that it doesn't matter, and I know that I'm being picky, but I really want the blue one. And there are some websites where you just order it and then you just get what colour they give you, and I'm just too, I want the blue, I really want the blue one. So I'm gonna have to kind of keep an eye on them and see if I can find a shop that allows you to pick your own colours. But yes, I am very happy with this. I need to pick a sock pattern. I do have 52 weeks of socks, so I'm looking. I'll have a look in there, see what options I've got for something of this weight, and I'm going to see if I can get myself that interchangeable set for maybe Christmas for myself or something, because I would like to knit more socks. They were nice and quick, and I knitted those because I felt like I needed a quick, easy win. I felt I needed to finish a project. To kind of give myself a little boost, and the socks did that, so I was quite happy. So from Bellica Yarns at the wool market, those two, and they kind of match in colour as well, so I love a good bit of symmetry. I also got a bit of fluff there. There we go. I also got myself a shawl pin. I've been looking for some shawl pins for a while because I've got a couple of shawls now, and I'm very much one of those, I'm not always happy to just have it draped over. I want it secure. I wave my arms around a lot. I'm a very, very exuberant person. And I don't want to be flinging my shawls off here, there and everywhere. So I thought I would like a shawl pin. And I've been looking around everywhere, and I've kind of found some that are quite nice, but is it nice enough that I'd want to buy it? And then I saw that, oh, just how beautiful is that? I love that so much. So this is from West Country Creative. I've got their little logo on the back there. So it's bamboo for the wooden parts, and polymer clay for these parts. But I just love that design. It's very ocean themed, and anybody who knows me knows I love my ocean stuff. And I feel like it would work perfectly with my Cordelia, as well as my Stormy Day shawl, and plus it's a bluey tealy colour, and I'm really predictable. So I mean, there were some beautiful ones there, but yeah, I was quite taken with this one, obviously because of the colour and the way that it looks like the ocean. So yes, I did get myself the shawl pin. Haven't used it yet. As you can see, it's still on the card. It does say it's unsuitable for woven fabrics. I think the intention is that you can slip this this bamboo between stitches. So if you were to do it with a woven fabric, I do feel like it would leave you with like a little gapey hole. So yeah, they had like a whole stall there. And they even have like make your own kits for these, and for buttons as well. So if you wanted to make your own using polymer clay, they have kits that let you do it. So yes, those were my purchases, and that was it. That was all I bought for like a whole wool market, and we were there for like a good couple of hours as well. So I think the fact that I only came away with that, I think that's really well done. If I'm honest, I think I did really well there. So yeah, those were my acquisitions from the 3 bags full wool market. I've just thought, is that maybe that might be reversible. That might be reversible actually, now that I think about it. Personally, I prefer this side, but it does have a little lining. I see no reason why that couldn't be reversible. This has actually been stitched really, really well, and all the seams are tucked in. I see no reason why that couldn't be reversible. I'm going to stick with the bees though. I love my bees. What I did realise I haven't done is I haven't changed my stitch marker for the Hibernate blanket. So I'm going to do that now while I'm still on stream to prove that I've done it. Not that I think you don't trust me, but, you know, prove it to myself that I've done it. So there we go. I've got my stitch marker. The problem is this wool's so chunky, it's really difficult to get it on and off the stitches. There we go. And it's now right at the top where I've only just finished, ready to show you what I have or have not done by this time next week. So yeah, that's all my updates for this week. Oh. So yeah, little bit kind of a little bit of everything really this week in terms of my works in progress. Managed to do some on the single malt sweater. I'm hoping that maybe by next week I'll have a finished sleeve. Maybe. I'm promising nothing. Now I'm really worried that I've said that, because if I've done nothing on it till next week, that'll look really bad. Maybe this is how I keep myself. Maybe this is how I hold myself accountable, by promising something one week and then madly rushing to get it done before the next one. So I'm hoping to have maybe finished a sleeve. I'm hoping to have at least started the next stripe of the Hibernate blanket. Don't know whether I'll have done any more on Mr. Monkey. But yeah, we'll see. But it is pretty much 8 o'clock here now, so I have been going for an hour. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'm planning on being back next week. Like I said, it is normally a weekly thing. It just life has got in the way the last couple of weeks, and it's kind of been a bit fortnightly, but the intention is for it to be weekly. And like I said, maybe at some point I will start a Portal playthrough and stream it on here, and maybe use that to motivate me to finish the Portal blanket, because hopefully I'll be like, oh, this game's great and I really like this, let's do the Portal blanket. Maybe. So yes, I really hope you enjoyed my stream. I hope you have a lovely rest of your evening, and I will see you next week. Bye.